Hey folks, it seems a lot of you like the look at random fantasy weapons with the sarcastic commentary I did recently, so here's some more of that. I'm also trying out a new setup for recording. I got yet another audio recorder because I can't stop investing too much into trying to improve the channel. It's not always a good idea, trust me. So let me know what you think. This should be pretty close to podcast quality, I hope, if everything goes well. So, alright, let's look up something other than swords this time. How about axes? Black Knight's axe. I see nothing even remotely knightly about this. If anything, it looks like the kind of a tactical version of maybe a trench tomahawk from one of the World Wars, but certainly nothing knightly about that. Scary skullhead axe. Oh, so scary. So orange. I mean, orange is kind of a scary color. It's so garish and offensive that you might want to run away from it. I wonder what it is. It could be orange dyed leather, or it could be some plasticky or rubbery shenanigans. I don't even know. Does it say here? The flaming skullhead emblem on it lets you know this is one wicked axe. Yeah, you always know by flaming heads that this is very wicked. Featuring powder coat, blah, blah, blah. Anything? Oh, tan leather wrap. Tan? You call this tan? That's orange. I'm sorry. That's clearly orange. I mean, I'll give him that. The shape on this is pretty cool. It looks, yeah, it looks pretty badass. Let's go ahead and say it's functional enough. If it was made of better steel, it's probably the cheapest stainless steel that I could get, but otherwise, yeah, it's reasonable enough. But the orange, no thanks. Zombie killer axe. So this looks just like a very generic. Well, isn't that's the Black Knight's axe as well, isn't it? So this is the Green Knight's axe. This is the Mint Knight axe or something. Neon Raver Knight. Cybergoth Knight's axe, maybe. Okay, I'm going too far a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of generic zombie theme. What even? Okay, that's a foam axe. I was thinking for a moment, that looks really bizarre. Yeah, it's a LARP weapon. Tolak, the Barbarian. So manly. And then we've got Alien Battle-Ax. Okay, there's the... Honestly, I was looking at this at first, and I was like, is this some kind of fish? But yeah, okay, the alien head is there. Here's the slice yourself handle, patented. Slice yourself TM. And here's the patented holes to make it break sooner. If you're into xenomorph themed stuff and sci-fi looking shenanigans, then this is probably pretty cool. $60 though for something to hang on the wall. I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, Demon Dragon Fantasy Axe. No image available. Lies. Filthy lies. There's a thumbnail. How can there not be an image available? This is kind of very generic fantasy stuff. It's not as much hilarious fail as was in the other store. The other store was just so over the top and ridiculous that everything about it was funny. This one is just kind of, yeah, they have mostly sort of generic wall hangers and stuff that you've probably seen a lot. Let's see if we can find more grotesque things, shall we? Oh yeah, this could be a good start. Mythos Battle-Ax. What is this? Okay, vaguely fishy demon holding an axe that comes out of his lower parts. Seems legit. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not even supposed to hold this. Okay, to each their own. Ah, here we go. Skull Predator. Yeah, this is definitely one of those that do never ever take off the wall, let alone dare strike anything with it, because this, right where the ring is here, this is where it's going to break, and this is where the fragments are going to fall your way or fly, and there's spikes. So if you want spikes in your face, flying at potentially high velocity, go ahead and strike something with it. What could possibly go wrong? Let's see what the image search is giving us. Well, that thing is really weird. Oh, never mind. It's Final Fantasy. What do you expect? I mean, I feel like it doesn't even make any sense for me to comment on Final Fantasy weapons, because if I do, there's just got to be a horde of butthurt people going, but it's even got fantasy in the name. How dare you? And yeah, fair. There's magic and stuff in the game. I mean, I think you can still poke fun at the designs, but at the same time, it's too easy to deflect that by, well, there's this and that in the game. The game is obviously not realistic whatsoever. Even though there's still gravity and there's still humanoid things walking around that are vaguely human-like, apparently, and they have 5 fingers and a palm, and the weapons still need to fit in that hand. I mean, I've explained all that before and people still got offended, so what can you say, right? I always feel kind of bad for picking on fantasy designs, because the artist clearly was trying to just do something that looks really cool, and then this Hema douche comes along and rips it apart. It's like, your art frickin' sucks. Like, I'm not saying that the art sucks. Like, this, for example, is very well drawn. Like, it looks like the drawing in and of itself looks good. It's got lots of detail. It looks three-dimensional. The coloring and shading is good. It still looks absolutely ridiculous to me. With all these weird serrations or protrusions or whatever that would break off immediately in a fight and get stuck, and the handle that barely even fits a human hand, and all these things that are just strange. Like, to me, this is not a sword. To me, this is an artifact. And who knows? Maybe it's intended that way. Who knows? Maybe it is supposed to be a magical artifact that just kind of floats around and maybe acts on its own. I don't know. I don't have the context. But generally, I do prefer to look at physical wall hangers, because, somebody actually made that, and it's an actual real object. It's not this, it's a magical ethereal thing that has no weight but can cut through anything and blah, and does your taxes for you and solves math puzzles and all these things and gets you a girlfriend. All these things, that this is an actual physical object, like this thing. I can look at this, I can be like, yeah, this is way too heavy, and it's probably, you're not going to have a good time trying to use this. Or in some cases, I can see, okay, here is this weak point that would break if you swung this at anything. Whereas if it's a fantasy weapon, I can just say, oh, no, it's reinforced by unobtainium and infused with the soul of a virgin witch and blah, whatever. All these random things that they can make up because it's fantasy. Okay, this Reaper thing is almost cute. It's kind of this... it's like this little almost chibi-like figurine attached to the weapon, or whatever it's supposed to be. And there's some side boob on this fairy here. We can never go wrong with side boob, right? And this is a love squid. Or are those... No, wait, there's a rose. These are not tentacles. These are thorns. Okay. And this is Beetle Bat of Doom, I'm assuming. Okay, I mean, the person is certainly creative. Kind of disappointed, though. The other page I found was so much funnier because of the hilarious descriptions. Let's try Tactical Axe. Let's see what depths of Dorito munching couch commando shenanigans we can find here. Okay, this... I kind of like this, actually. And the angle, this may look really weird, but there are actually historical examples of axes with that sort of handle. There we go. The Norwegians have come up with some designs with these very strongly bent handles. It gets pretty extreme in some cases. So I've never tried an axe like that, so I'm not sure. I can only speculate what kind of effect it has on a strike, but they probably did it for a reason, so this could be effective. I mean, one thing that comes to mind is you can strike a target harder if it's lower, because then you get more rotation in the swing, it's got more time to accelerate, and if you strike more downward, you can bring more of your weight to bear. You know, whereas if you were to try to strike something further up, you can still, with proper body mechanics, you can still do it well, but it's a little easier to do it if you concentrate most of the force further down. And if it curves away, technically your arms will be lower at the point when the blade hits, as opposed to if it's curved forward. But, you know, it being curved forward, it also has some advantages, like in case of the kukri. So I'm not sure if it's really a substantial advantage in any way. And this is just speculation. As I said, I haven't tried that out myself. This is just something that comes to mind. This, I'm guessing, is more of a shovel or spade. This would be a spade because it's flat. There's a saw blade with very coarse teeth. Here's kind of a bill hook. So it's trying to cram a lot of functions into one. Now, I always have a bit of an issue with the full Tang ones. Full Tang axes, they're good ones, don't get me wrong, but my main issue with that is they kind of mess with what an axe is and what it does. Because the axe, the way it's balanced, most of the mass is at the striking end. Whereas if you have a full Tang, it moves the balance back a lot further because, of course, a steel Tang is heavier than a wooden handle or even just a, plastic handle. So it doesn't hit as hard and it doesn't chop as well as an axe normally does. So it becomes almost slightly more machete-like, especially if you have a relatively short or small head and a fairly long handle. Then it's just less effective overall, so I'm not really a fan of it. It's much tougher though, so you gotta say that it's way more durable. This is actually pretty neat, and it looks like the Tang may only go to about here, so it still retains the balance of an axe. It's somewhat bill hook-like, so this I do like, actually. And let's see, I'm looking for more ridiculous stuff. I mean, you can criticize a lot of tactical designs. In many cases, you can criticize even just the fact that they call themselves tactical, even though there's no way you'd see any soldier running around with that, or at least use it seriously. There's always that angle. But I don't see anything super ridiculous right now. If I'm overlooking anything, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. Okay, this thing is really weird looking. Oh, that's a 3D model. Okay, 3D model. Yeah, I don't. That doesn't look terribly comfortable. It's well rendered, but yeah, it's more of a wrecking tool right here. What else do we have? A Glock is a tactical axe now. You just gotta duct tape it to the end of a handle and strike things with it. So you hit them while you shoot them at the same time. Because physics. That's how it works, right? Oh, hi. What even? Is that a real thing? 5 hilariously stupid gun accessories. I'm not gonna argue with that. That is pretty ridiculous. I mean, pistol bayonets are weird enough, but a pistol axe, overall, a little bit disappointing compared to the last attempt where I found that super hilarious website. If you have anything that you'd like me to look at, anything that's like super ridiculous, as I said, ideally stuff that's actually a real life physical object as opposed to fantasy stuff, because that's it. I mean, I will poke fantasy at fun stuff. I will poke fun at fantasy stuff every now and then, but it seems somewhat pointless because everything can be brushed away with it's magic, right? So yeah, I hope this was still halfway entertaining, and thanks for watching. Have a good one, folks.